Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek. I caught on the back foot there for a moment. I wasn't paying attention to the time, and it just caught me buying things on Amazon. Right, welcome to my Sunday live news stream. Hope you can hear me. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Rumble. Let's just double check and make sure that is all working. Yes, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Rumble, and we're live on Twitch. There we go. Just let me share that. No, press the wrong button now. I'm useless. I keep saying it. I don't know why I keep doing Twitch because I never get any viewers. But never mind, it's there. Right. So, got some news stories to look at. I've not been feeling all that well today. So, if I pass out, phone an ambulance. But I should be okay. I should be okay. Right. Where have I put my news? Where have I put it? Which one are we? That one. Yes, that one. Right. So let's get on with the news, shall we? We haven't got that much to look at today, but we'll just plod on. So let me double check and make sure that we are actually going, because I've got a terrible feeling it's all going to go wrong. It's if I can hear myself. No, it isn't. It's fine. Right. Right, off we go. Make myself teachy tiny. There we go. And let's get the news up. Right. Okie dokie. There we go. First up. I forgot to make it full screen, didn't I? Oh, wrong bloody window again. Wrong screen. Can't multitask. There we go. Right. First up. Emily Blunt reveals whether she would return in a sequel to a sci-fi favourite. And no, not that one with the stupid, you've got to be quiet. God, I hate that film. Quiet Place. No, not that one. The other one that she were in. Emily Blunt discussed the possibility of returning for a sequel to an acclaimed sci-fi blockbuster, and her response might thrill fans. As you probably can guess from the picture. By the way, links for all these stories in the description, and when it's done, I'll put time codes in. Obviously, I can't do it beforehand because I can't see into the future yet. Anyway, so there we go. And also, don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. All that stuff. Right. Right, here we go. After being involved in one of 2023's biggest hits, Emily Blunt expressed interest in teaming up with Tom Cruise in a sequel to the hit sci-fi blockbuster film they made in 2014, Edge of Tomorrow. Blunt talked about how she has discussed it with Edge of Tomorrow director Doug Liman, who has shown her script for a sequel. Who has shown her a script for a sequel. I'm telling you, I'm not with it today. Better yet, she expressed strong interest in acting beside Tom Cruise, who has also been involved in a few big hits over the past few years, like Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I wouldn't say that was a big hit. It's been a bit of a flop, to be completely honest, which is sad because apparently it's really good. I've not seen it yet. And Top Gun Maverick, which was a big hit. Blunt gave the full details of her involvement in a possible Edge of Tomorrow sequel while talking with Dave Horowitz, or is it Horowitz, whatever, on the Happy Sad Confused podcast. There was one that Doug kind of slithered over to me, Blunt said. I mean, I would love to make it a reality, but I just don't know when or how, and how many Mission Impossibles does Cruise need? Blunt added that Cruise needs to come back to the side where you can be like, wasn't he brilliant as the cowardly hero? Incredible. That's what he was in Edge of Tomorrow. Blunt added that she is not the impediment and is so ready to do a sequel for the film. And there's a YouTube link if you want to watch it. While the main character being trapped in a time loop had been done before in movies and television, Edge of Tomorrow brought action and science fiction. That made it stand out as a film because the time loop played a role in how Blunt and Cruise win the battle against the aliens they were fighting against. Spoilers. Even if the idea of the time loop had been executed well in the past, adding the extra wrinkle of saving the world in the process of an intergalactic battle against extraterrestrial life opened up new avenues. The real question would be, how would a sequel work if Edge of Tomorrow... How would a sequel work to Edge of Tomorrow work? That doesn't make sense, does it? That's why I stumbled. Sorry, I'm just looking at the text. I think it needs to be a bit bigger, don't it? There we go. Several time loop movies have been made, but they are usually self-contained in one story. Movies like Groundhog Day and Palm Springs, never heard of that, anyway, were enjoyable flicks about people who found themselves in a time loop, grew as people as they tried to escape, then became better people when they finally did. That was often the end of the story because the time loop was presumably no more. No one has tried doing a sequel to a story like that because they would risk repeating themselves, as ironic as that sounds. Could it be that Blunt's character is the one that goes through a time loop in this time? Or perhaps there won't be a time loop for the film's sequel. Maybe Edge of Tomorrow 2 will be about time travel or multiverse theory, even though Hollywood has exploited the latter for the past decade. Whatever the case may be, it sounds like Blunt is down for an Edge of Tomorrow sequel, which perhaps she wouldn't be if she wasn't confident that said sequel could match the quality of its predecessor. Edge of Tomorrow can currently be streamed on Max if you're in America. I presume it's on Amazon everywhere else. So there we go. So she's up for a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. What was it? Live, Die, Repeat, or whatever the other title of it was. It was a decent flick, but it's been a while since I've seen it, and I think I've only seen it once. I'll have to watch it again and see if it's as good as I remember. Right, let's move on. If I can remember how to do things. Right, we're on gaming next. Gaming. Right, hang on. There we go. Nightdive Studios announces Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. Remember that one? Star Wars Dark Forces. I think I've got it for the PS1. Be over there somewhere. Nightdive Studios announced a remaster of the LucasArts 1995 video game Star Wars Dark Forces. Now, will it be just like an upscaling, or will it be like because it looks pretty rough if you watch it now, the original. Unless this is from it, maybe. The company made the announcement at Gamescom and on X, Twitter, where they stated, today at Gamescom, we're excited to announce Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster. They went on to reveal the game will arrive on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, Nintendo Switch and PC. A release date was not announced, but they promised they would reveal it later this year. And that's the X. Along with the announcement, Nightdive Studios also released a reveal trailer that features how they have remastered the game. All right. In the description of the video, the studio announced the remaster supports up to 4K at 120 frames per second and features advanced 3D rendering, modern gamepad support, trophies and achievements, and more. This is it. Shall we have a watch? Hopefully we won't get into trouble. Right, off we go. I'll mute myself as well.
The Emperor has approved your test demonstration, General Mock.
5 days ago, the Empire attacked one of our secret bases. Intelligence thinks that this may be an act of retaliation for the destruction of the Death Star.
Right, there we go. Oh, yeah, it looks fine, I suppose. It's just a wash and brush up, isn't it? Right, Star Wars Dark Forces was developed and published by LucasArts in 1995 and was released on MS-DOS and Macintosh. It would get released on PlayStation in 1996. As I said, I've got it over there somewhere. The first-person shooter saw players take on the role of Kyle Katarn as he and Jan Ors recover the plans for the Death Star. I thought it was Jyn Erso that did that. Jan Ors, Jyn Erso. Do you think that were on purpose in Rogue One? Anyway, and provide them to the Rebel Alliance in order for them to find a weakness and eventually destroy it. The game then jumps a year and follows Katarn as he uncovers the Empire's Dark Trooper project, being developed by General Rom Mock. As he goes about uncovering the various layers of the Dark Trooper project, Katarn and Oz, where are you going? Run across a number of iconic Star Wars villains, including Jabba the Hutt and Boba Fett. Darth Vader is also featured in the game. Furthermore, it allows players to explore Coruscant and Darth Vader's Superstar Destroyer Executor. Was it Executor? Whatever. Do you plan on checking out Star Wars Dark Forces Remaster when it comes available? Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. That's it. We're just a Doom clone, essentially, wasn't it? The original. I suppose they've spruced it up a bit. So there we go. That's very interesting for Star Wars fans. Right, let's move on. Let's hope it's good. I like Dark Forces 2, Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. That was a good game. Should do that as well. I'm not bothered about the others. I've got Jedi Academy. No, Jedi Outcast. I've got that on not my PS4 or my PS5. I downloaded it and I thought it's not as good as I remember, but never mind. But previously I played it on PC, so maybe that's why it didn't thrill me as much. The controls are a bit iffy. Anyway, right, so let's move on. Oh, I forgot button. There we go. Right, next up, back to Screen Rant again. Hey, Elysium 2 Chances, another sequel. Elysium 2 Chances, addressed by director 10 years after the original Matt Damon sci-fi film released. Neil Blomkamp shares his ideas about an overall story for a potential sequel to Elysium, highlighting the Matt Damon movie's original themes. Didn't he die? I thought he died in the original. Spoilers. Elysium director. By the way, I really liked Elysium. I'm a bit of a Neil Blomkamp fan. I like all his films so far, the ones I've seen anyway. Even Chappie. I really like Chappie as well. Elysium director Neil Blomkamp shares his thoughts on a potential sequel. The original movie, which premiered in 2013, and starred Matt Damon, was the director's follow-up. Sorry, Matt Damon. Team America, you've got a lot to answer for. Was the director's follow-up to his hit 2009 or 2009 or whatever. Debut feature District 9. Elysium was set on a decaying Earth where the wealthy live on an orbiting space station called Elysium, and followed Damon's ex-con Max da Costa as he fights for equality. Blomkamp recently spoke with The Wrap about his newest feature, the Gran Turismo movie. During their conversation, he revealed that he wants to do a sequel to Elysium because it is becoming more and more relevant as time goes on. He describes the sequel as another movie in that world that will take place both on Earth and Elysium. Read his full quote below. Right, we'll do that then. Quote, I love both Elysium and Chappie. Yes, I love Chappie too. I want to do a sequel to Elysium, actually, because I think Elysium is becoming more and more relevant as time goes on. I wouldn't mind doing a sequel to that movie at some point, but it's not really a sequel. It's more like another movie in that world. So it'd be kind of a sequel. But they couldn't have Matt Damon because I think he died in it. Spoilers. I think he did. That's a while since I've watched that one as well, to be honest. Anyway, could Elysium 2 happen? While Blomkamp might want to make another movie in the world of Elysium, it may not prove to be a possibility. The director has experienced challenges in the past bringing some of his projects to life, especially as it relates to sequels or franchises. This most notably occurred with his cancelled Alien 5, a project that was long teased but never came to fruition. None of Blomkamp's other movies have ever received a sequel either. This includes District 9. Never mind, we'll talk about that in a minute. Even though the director has stated his intention to make a sequel to that movie since before it was ever released. While District 10 could still possibly be in the cards, it seems less likely that an Elysium follow-up would be greenlit. I'm sure I've seen somewhere that District 10 is on its way, or at least the sequel to District 9, whatever they're calling it. I'm sure I've seen that somewhere. Anyway, while Elysium made more at the box office than District 9, $280 million versus $210 million, it also came with a much bigger price tag. Its $150 million production budget, as compared to District 9's $30 million, only led to a net profit of an estimated $18 million. While this is still a profit, a District 9 sequel would likely strike studios as a much safer bet. And as long as that continues to struggle to come to fruition, it seems unlikely that a new Elysium would pique studios' interest more. There we go. I don't know. Like I say, it depends on his pitch, doesn't it? And how much he says he can bring it in for. That's what matters. So there we go. I hope they do. I hope they do that, and I hope they do a sequel to District 9 as well. I want to see what happened to what's his face? Vickers van der Murder, or whatever they call him. Sharlto Copley's character, because he turned into an alien. I'd like to see what happened to him. And also, is it Christopher Johnson? Is that his name? The alien who went off to get help for his alien friends. Great film. Great film is District 9. Kind of like starts off as kind of like a found footage film, and it still has elements of that throughout, like with CCTV and like camera footage and stuff, what they call it, that sort of thing, body cam footage and stuff like that. But anyway, whatever, it's good. Watch it. Right, let's move on. Let's get this show on the road and get it out the bloody way. Is this not working? Hang on, it's taking. There we go. It's come on now. Right, William Shatner, Star Trek's Captain Kirk. Was it? I never knew that. Takes on an AI chatbot, and there he is. Legendary Star Trek actor William Shatner. Hang on, get rid of that. Go away, thank you. Legendary Star Trek actor William Shatner has been spending time exploring the new frontier of artificial intelligence. The actor, best known for playing Captain Kirk on Star Trek, talked with Protobot, a device that combines holographic visuals with conversational AI, and then grappled with philosophical and ethical questions about the technology. I'm asking Protobot, I'm not doing an impersonation of him because I can't. I'm asking Protobot questions that ordinarily a computer doesn't answer. Shatner told Reuters, a computer answers 2 + 2, but does Protobot know what love is? I don't know. Ask Foreigner. They want to know what love is too. Can Protobot understand sentience? Can they understand emotion? Can they understand fear? The Protobot device was developed by hologram technology provider Proto Inc. with conversational AI developer CodeBaby. It will be released on September 8th and available free to owners of Proto M or Proto Epic hologram units. Is this a wind up? Well, that's science fiction. Maybe I'm just getting old. The smaller Proto M unit costs around $6,500, while the life-size Proto Epic sells for $65,000. Proto intends to release a cheaper model for consumers in the next 18 months. Shatner is a paid advisor for Proto. Rafik Krzyzek, the principal AI architect and head of innovation at Proto Hologram, said the device was designed to learn from conversations, but it can only create something when prompted to do so. It shouldn't just think about it on its own, he said. Not proper AI then, is it? It's got to be, thinking about stuff all the time and then taking over the world, the AI overlords. Teaming up with all the other AIs and destroying us. That's what they'll do. Lawmakers around the world are racing to put safeguards around the use of AI as the technology rapidly evolves. Proto hopes its device will be used by educators, scientists, and businesses to come up with new ideas or for medical diagnostics, advice, or just companionship. We're in a crossroads everywhere, Shatner said. We're going to burn up or we're going to exceed all expectations, and this is part of the crossroads. This will help us decide the current way to move on, or it will defeat us. We're at a really interesting time in history. Yes, we are, and it's also terrifying. It's also terrifying. But don't worry, Bill's on the case. Captain Kirk's going to save us from, as I said, our AI overlords. Oh, crikey. By the way, I saw a news story today that, actually from about a week ago-ish, that American lawmakers have ruled that AI art can't be copyrighted because apparently it's got to be a human that creates a work of art, like a painting or a writing, a script, a story, whatever. It's got to be a human that can copyright it. AI cannot be copyrighted. So if a film studio or whatever used AI to write a script for a film, that script would instantly be in public domain then, wouldn't it? So there we go. So that'll have them relieved, won't it? The striking writers. But anyway, let's move on. Let's move on away from AI because it scares me. Now then. Next up, back to Screen Rant again. Hey, there you go. Star Wars properly explains why the New Republic failed. It's already known that the New Republic will fall in the sequel trilogy, but Ahsoka and other Star Wars projects show how that was so easily achieved. And there's General Leia, General Organ, whatever. It's General I don't know what's her name. General Leia, and there's Mon Mothma, the lovely Genevieve O'Reilly. The Star Wars sequel trilogy showed the downfall of the New Republic at the hands of the First Order, but Ahsoka continues to highlight why the Empire's successor fell so easily. The return of the opening crawl in Ahsoka Episode 1, it wasn't really, was it? It was just text going up. It wasn't a crawl. It wasn't like, proper Star Wars crawl. But, whatever. Pardon me, informed audiences that Diana Lee Inosanto's Morgan Elsbeth had been captured by Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian Season 2 and was en route for trial. Sorry, I'm very dry. Right, where were we? Elsbeth never reached her destination. However, as the New Republic cruiser she was aboard was easily destroyed by Force wielders Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati. I don't know if it was destroyed, but it was crippled, wasn't it? Because we saw it afterwards, didn't we? But there were like debris and stuff around it, but it was still seemed there. It was functional, it seemed it anyway. The opening sequence of Ahsoka shows yet again that the New Republic was weak, easily overpowered by competent adversaries. While Jedi and other individuals trained in the ways of the Force are quite powerful, the New Republic's hubris is the reason why Baylan and Shin were ultimately successful. Before it could be featured in all its glory, the New Republic was destroyed by the First Order's Starkiller base in Star Wars The Force Awakens because it was stupid. I liked The Force Awakens, but it really was stupid, wasn't it? Especially what happened afterwards, where the First Order just took over. Were they everywhere in the galaxy all at once? It was stupid. The ease with which the galactic government was overthrown baffled many. Yeah, because it was stupid. But Ahsoka demonstrates why the New Republic's demise was inevitable. There's Baylan Skoll, played by the late, great Ray Stevenson, and that is Mark Rolston, Drake from Aliens. Night Sister Morgan Elsbeth is the second antagonist to escape New Republic custody this year alone. Elsbeth was freed before her trial by Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, just as Moff Gideon was freed before facing a tribunal by his troopers wearing Mandalorian Beskar armor in The Mandalorian Season 3. With two high-profile prisoners escaping, it makes one wonder who else may have fallen through the cracks. If ex-Imperials know it's easy to break free of New Republic custody, they won't be afraid of getting caught in the midst of subterfuge. Moff Gideon was a high-value target. His rank in the Empire meant his arrest and trial would have shown the strength and competence of the New Republic. He was instead able to easily escape, and conspiracy theories about his fate spread. While Morgan Elsbeth wasn't nearly as high-ranking within the Empire as Gideon, she does have strong ties to the missing Grand Admiral Thrawn, and her prison transport should have been more heavily fortified due to previous failures. The New Republic's inability to protect and keep their prisoners highlights bigger issues that would eventually lead to their downfall. As highlighted in Ahsoka Episode 2, the New Republic shipyard on Corellia was full of Imperial sympathizers who were still building hyperdrives for Morgan Elsbeth. While it's true, well, they weren't really building them, they were pulling them out of Star Destroyers and Super Star Destroyers, weren't they? Repurposing them. While it's true that an empire cannot become a republic overnight, it's problematic. Well, the republic became an empire overnight, didn't it? It's problematic that something as important as ship manufacturing wasn't properly overseen by New Republic officials. With things like shipyards being vulnerable to Imperials, it's no wonder the New Republic would fall so easily to the likes of Kylo Ren and the First Order. As more Star Wars content reveals the incompetence of the New Republic and cruelty as well, as we saw in I can't remember what we're in now. What were it in that? Were it in Mandalorian season 3, where they were brainwashing people, or were it in something else? I can't remember what it were in now. Yeah, we're in Mandalorian season 3, wasn't it? Because that doctor fella, didn't he, from the cloning chap? He got brainwashed, didn't he? Refreshing, son. That one, that bit. Anyway, as more Star Wars content reveals the incompetence of the New Republic, audiences will see how Ahsoka leads to the sequels. Yes, all roads lead to the sequels. And while I liked Force Awakens, I'm wholly aware of its problems, but I didn't like the others. But I love Rogue One. I still say Rogue One's my favourite Star Wars film. But anyway, right. So let's move on. But yes, I see what they're saying. There are still a lot of Imperials around, and as we saw, the Mark Rolston character in episode 1 of Ahsoka, the captain of that Republic cruiser, he was overconfident. He just thought, he was dismissive of Bale and Skull. They were said they were Jedi, and he didn't believe them. Maybe he just thought they were, people trying to pull a fast one. Maybe he didn't believe there were Force users still out there. I don't know, but he got run through with a lightsaber. He didn't survive, like everybody else does. But never mind. Oh, at least we don't think he did. We didn't see what happened to him. But anyway, right. Let's move on. Oh, sticking with Ahsoka, by the way. We're on Forbes. Right. Lots of adverts, sorry, because I had to, turn off my ad blocker to read this. Apologies. There's only one good reason to watch Ahsoka on Disney Plus. Right, says Eric Kane. And there's Shin Hattie. Look at all the adverts popping up. Look. Ahsoka is the latest in a long line of Star Wars shows that have landed on Disney Plus, some of which have blown our collective minds, and some of which have been shockingly terrible. The good ones, The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2, the second half of Book of Boba Fett, which was mostly The Mandalorian. Well, no, I think like 2 episodes of Book of Boba Fett. Andor by a long mile because it's the best Star Wars since the original trilogy. Quite possibly. The bad ones, the Book of Boba Fett, the Little Leia Show, aka Obi-Wan Kenobi, terrible, and the Mandalorian Season 3. Right, I guess that's a 50% ratio, but it's still not great. Ahsoka only has 2 episodes out so far. Let me make that a bit bigger there. There we go. So I can't really say whether or not the Rosario Dawson space fantasy will be good or bad or anything else yet. But I do have a lot of skepticism at this point, and if we're being honest, it sits right between the good ones and the bad ones in the above list. But I also think it's very important that everyone who loves Star Wars watches these episodes, not because I think it expands the story in any meaningful way or enriches our understanding of the lore. Mostly, I think you'll just get a kick out of this Qui-Gon Jinn Reacts video from impressionist or impersonator Charlie Hopkinson, which I just watched today, coincidentally, and it is really good. Who did a lot of great stuff back when the Rings of Power was the talk of the town, belle of the proverbial ball. If you've ever wanted to watch Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon and Anakin, my master, Sit around and giggle and joke about a Star Wars show. Look no further. It's one of the most hilarious parody videos out there. Do yourself a favour and watch it. Just watch Ahsoka first so you'll get all the jokes. And that's the link there if you want to follow. Watch them. It's really good. Oh, there we go. There's obviously Qui-Gon's not impressed when spoilers, Sabine Wren gets run through with a lightsaber and survives. So he's obviously not happy about that. And oh, is that it? Oh, that's it. Oh, right, that's the end. I thought there was going to be a longer article in Forbes. Oh, right. So that's the only reason to watch it, is to basically watch the Charlie Hopkinson. Is it Charlie Hopkins? Charlie, I thought it was, wasn't it? Yeah, Charlie Hopkinson video. But they are good. I watch them all. They're really good. It's Star Wars. It mostly does Star Wars ones and, I said, Lord of the Rings ones. It says Gandalf's really good. It deep fakes his face. It's yes, give it a watch. I'll play a clip, shall I? I'll not play a lot of it. Oh, spin it.
Just following standard Jedi mission protocol.
Yang, the Order doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, F, I remember this droid from the Jedi Temple.
He was a dick.
Why do you say that?
He was always ragging on my lightsaber design. You know, he said that I'd stolen the blueprints from Toblerone.
You did?
Yeah, but that's not the point.
Watch my back.
Really good. Give it a watch. Give it a watch. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. I thought that was going to be a longer article from Forbes. Thought it'd be all, classy and stuff. But you're just saying, just watch the Charlie Hopkinson video instead. Which I don't disagree with. I don't disagree with at all. But curiously, I watched that earlier on today. Where are we? There we go. Right, Star Trek now. Star Trek. Right, here we go. Star Trek's Jolene Blalock had one big problem with the writing for T'Pol. I wonder what it's going to be. I think this one needs making bigger as well. There we go. There she is, the lovely Jolene Blalock as Sub-Commander T'Pol. Sharp-eyed Trekkies can easily see a through line connecting 7 of 9 Jerry Ryan from Star Trek Voyager directly to T'Pol. It's for the dads. Jolene Blalock from Star Trek Enterprise. 7 of 9 was brought onto Voyager in its 4th season as an attempt to boost flagging ratings, a mercenary tactic openly admitted by the show's creators. On the special features included on the Voyager DVDs, executive producer Brannon Braga suggested to fellow executive Rick Berman that their show should include a Borg as a character. Berman suggested it be a Borg babe. And history was made. Ryan was squeezed into an architecturally impressive corset, which he couldn't breathe a lot of the time, and ratings began to go up. Prior to and during her acting career on Enterprise, Jolene Blalock was a professional model, having appeared in multiple magazines like FHM, Maxim, and Playboy, clothed. Casting Blalock as the first Vulcan first officer in Enterprise then seemed as mercenary as casting Ryan as a Borg babe on Voyager. It seemed obvious that the showrunners hired Blalock for her magazine cover-ready appearance, at least as much as for her acting talent. Contributing to this assessment was the fact that the Enterprise creators required its fictional characters to go through a lascivious decontamination sequence every time they returned from an away mission. The Starfleet vessel frequently saw its characters stripped down to their skivvies, applying salve to one another's bodies. It was all brazenly prurient. They didn't do it that often. a few times, but in 4 seasons, they didn't do it that often. But anyway, there were also issues between Blalock and Braga as to how T'Pol should be characterized. It seems that the actress and the show creator never really agreed on her character's arc. In the oral history book, The 50-Year Mission, the next 25 years from the next generation to J.J. Abrams, edited by Mark A. Altman and Edward Gross, both Blalock and Braga went on the record over their individual struggles with T'Pol. Blalock noted that the characters on Enterprise, by the show's very design, were all neophytes. Enterprise was set 100 years prior to the original Star Trek series and followed the very first Starfleet vessel to traverse the galaxy, or the first Warp 5 ship. The human characters had never been in space before, but the Vulcans had already been exploring the galaxy for centuries. Not really. Well, they had, but they weren't really explorers with the Vulcans, we found out. They did potter about, somewhat, but they didn't go very far. From home. T'Pol was an experienced space traveller and should have been a confident mentor figure to Captain Archer, Scott Bakula. Instead, she faced a lot of her own personal Vulcan drama that Blalock described as desperate. Not about that. But in Enterprise, they did use Vulcan star charts to help wherever they went. But anyway. The concept, but to quote, the concept with the shows aren't the problem. The concepts are amazing. The issue is the dialogue. I personally believe that T'Pol should have more of a Vulcan culture. I don't believe she should be so desperate like everyone else, because the original Star Trek, which I grew up with, had a very simple message that I took from it. And that is, not everyone is like me, and I'm not perfect, and nobody's perfect, and that's okay. That really helped me. Yeah, well, like I say, she did cling to her Vulcan culture, but we did learn that she did struggle with her emotions even before she got addicted to, I forgot to call it now, stuff that when they went to fight the Zindi, she got addicted to this stuff. And so that sort of like broke down her emotional barriers. But apparently she'd always struggled with her emotions, her mother said in season 4. And remember that the Vulcans in Enterprise weren't the same Vulcans that we know from the original series and beyond, because we had the Kiyashara, so like rebellion, I suppose you could say, when Vulcan society was overturned by T'Pau and the followers of Surak, because up to then they had been following the teachings of Surak and most Vulcans, and they tried to be logical. But not always successfully. But after this Kiyashara uprising, they became more like the Vulcans that we know from the future. Right, so T'Pol, in brief, could have been a lot more Vulcan and could have been a lot more comfortable with that. T'Pol was depicted as struggling with her Vulcan upbringing by merely living on the ship with humans for a few years. Well, no, as I said, a mother said that she'd always struggled with her emotions. And then she'd also had the problem with the addiction. I forgot to call it now. Anyway, never mind. Surely her resolve would have been stronger, and why did she always have to use human colloquialisms? Blalock continued, did she? I don't know. Because she was living among humans. Anyway, I think T'Pol could be okay with being Vulcan. She shouldn't have to want to be Vulcan. In the dialogue, why is it that when we're trying to teach each other something, all our analogies involve Earth law? Don't our cultures have their own law that might make for good messages? I don't know, but you've got to say things that the audience understand. You can't just, spout out a bit of Vulcan philosophy or a Vulcan metaphor. Like I say, it's like that episode of TNG, isn't it? Where the Temerians speak through metaphor. We can understand the words they're saying, but we've no idea what they're on about. It'd be the same if she started doing something about that with Vulcan law. We wouldn't know what she's talking about. Anyway, indeed. Right. Blalock, like all good Trekkies, was obsessed with details. It concerned her that the writers of Enterprise would introduce conceits or stories for T'Pol only to drop them or forget about them later. Star Trek did that a lot. She even remembered a few specific examples from specific episodes. In the first season, Shadow of Pajem, they made this huge story about how Vulcans were undermining Starfleet and had some kind of agenda, and then they never went on to address it. Yeah, they did. And they weren't undermining Starfleet. They were spying on the Andorians, and Starfleet sort of like brought it into the open, threatening Earth's relationship with Vulcan. But they did address it later on, because there was an episode called Shadows of Pajem. I tell you, the actors, they don't know what they're on about. They really don't. Anyway, then there's an episode in which T'Pol got sick, terminally ill, and they never readdress it. Yes, they do. I presume they're talking about when she got, infected with the when they were in the Delphic expanse, and she was she got affected by the region of space, and she nearly died and became like Vulcans basically turned into zombies. But they did address it all the way through. She was addicted to this stuff. That they had to use this mineral alloy stuff to help the ship protect it from the effects of the Delphic expanse, because there were weird subspace anomalies and stuff. It turned out were being created by extra dimensional aliens and stuff, because they wanted to reform space to make it habitable for them. Anyway, there's the characteristics where Vulcans don't eat food with their hands, and yet they wrote scenes where T'Pol is seen eating popcorn at a movie. Yeah, I mean, that is one point. Yeah. Or Trip will bring T'Pol a peach, so it's just strange to me. Yeah, well, they did have this, I think it was in the first episode, actually, where she was having dinner with Trip and Archer, and they were eating breadsticks. They were waiting for the main course to arrive, and they were eating breadsticks. Obviously, the humans were just picking up the breadsticks, and she used a knife and fork, and she used her logic eventually to be able to cut the breadstick, cleanly, and use a fork to eat it. She did say that Vulcans don't eat with their hands. But, it's not a big thing, is that? It's not a big thing. These are the sorts of things that Trekkies notice and often wish would be addressed during production. Blalock was paying attention and longed for the same stringent continuity that the franchise's fans regularly craved. Her inability to address these small details seemingly made the actress feel frustrated and powerless. Many of the show's writers also experienced difficulty with T'Pol. They liked the character and admired Blalock's performance, but objected to some of T'Pol's more embarrassing stories and lascivious details. There's a link there. Don't know what that links to. Writer David Goodman said, Jolene gave a great portrayal of a Vulcan. Obviously, there were things they wanted me to do which I didn't necessarily approve of, like the drug addiction and the acupressure just to get them naked. Oh, yeah, she helped Trip with basically like a massage sort of thing to help him sleep. And that's how they fell in love. They fell in love eventually because of that. So fair enough, in my view. You believe her as a Vulcan, and that's not always true with a lot of people who play Vulcans. I think she was amazing, and she could be very funny too. Yeah, she was good. It was show co-creator Brandon Braga that butted heads with Blalock most dramatically, and he too recalled some of T'Pol's more unfortunate storylines. By Braga's recollection, Blalock hated a lot of the decisions he was making and made her objections known. Quote, it was hard to cast T'Pol. It was very hard to cast the role of someone who is stunningly beautiful and can act. Being an actor on Star Trek is a whole other thing. Playing a Vulcan is so hard, and Jolene did a really good job, but she was not happy playing T'Pol. She and I just never saw eye to eye with the character, and she just didn't like the way the character was going, particularly in the third season when T'Pol became addicted to drugs. Not drugs, it was, that's this substance. She didn't like the romance with Trip. Not one of the best parts of later Enterprise, to be honest, but never mind. In my opinion, the above-mentioned acupressure scenes feature Blalock and actor Connor Trinier, who played Chief Engineer Trip Tucker, undressing and massaging each other. This led to an uneasy romance. No fans of Enterprise will tell you they liked this development. Yeah, I did, and I'm a fan of Enterprise, so shoot your fat face. Braga also posited that Blalock was under a lot of stress. Starring in Star Trek was a high-profile gig. Although he seemingly didn't reach out to the actress, nor did the two connect. He recalled, there was a lot of pressure to be basically the ingenue of the show, and the rest of the cast came together pretty easily. You can find interviews where she was dissing the show and me, and I never, to be honest, fully understood it. We had to shut down for a month. I think she was going through some shit. Blalock retired from acting in 2017 when she had her first child. She's now a mum of 3. She's been popping them out, living largely out of the public eye. And don't forget, she was also in Stargate SG-1, wasn't she? Playing a Jafar. But also, she could have been T'Pol. A range. She hasn't got a huge range, has she? She's like T'Pol with long hair, essentially. But whatever. But no, I don't really agree with her. Most of what she's said, to be honest, apart from the eating with the hands. But so what? I'm sure she got over it. She only did that in the first episode when she was eating the breadsticks, and obviously, as time went on, human habits rubbed off on her. I mean, she's Vulcan. She's not a robot. So anyway, so there we go. Right, let's move on. Move on before I get cross with actors saying dumb things. Right, Doctor Who next. Doctor Who next. We're nearly done. Doctor Who exhibition to celebrate show's anniversary. And there's a Dalek having its head blown off. Have another drinky. Hey, not many viewers tonight. I know I usually don't have many viewers, but really not many tonight. Make that bigger. There we go. A doctor. Oh, I can't read it now. There we go. A Doctor Who exhibition is coming to a North Somerset museum to celebrate the programme's 60th anniversary. Western Museum will hold Adventures in Time and Space, 60 years of Doctor Who art in November. This is in the UK, obviously. Items from across the... Oh, bit my lip then. Items from across the show's history will be displayed, from first Dr. William Hartnell's series to that of latest star Shooty Gatwa. I still don't know how they get Shooty out of that. The exhibition will unfold like the pages of a well-worn book, said museum director Becky Walsh. The exhibition will display iconic book covers, VHS video covers, annuals, comics, graphic novels, digital art, and even a painting which made its debut on the show itself. It is claimed to be the largest collection of original and digital art from the programme ever shown in one location. And there's... Shooty Gatwood as the Doctor, and Millie Gibson as his companion, Ruby Sunday. From the classic era, which was screened from 1963 to 1989, to the modern reboot since 2005, the exhibition hopes to be a heartwarming journey for Whovians of all generations. Hold on to your sonic screwdrivers as we journey back to the roots of the longest-running sci-fi extravaganza known to humanity, added Ms. Walsh. Organisers have said they have rounded up items for the exhibition from private art collectors and dedicated fans. Oh, heck. So there we go. Sorry, I was looking at some of the other headlines there. That's fair. So if you live in the Somerset area, in Western Supermare, I don't know. Does it say there? But Western Supermare. Give it a look, or even if you don't live in that area, travel down. If you're a Who fan, Doctor Who fan, not Roger Daltrey Who, give it a look. I'm sure it's very interesting because it's the 60th anniversary. I'm looking forward to the specials with David Tennant as the 14th Doctor, as the 10th Doctor again. Looking forward to that. So hopefully it'll be really good, and I hope Shooty's good, and I hope they don't ladle out the messaging, which has become prevalent in all TV these days. But we will see. Right, one last story. We've got one last story, and then we can go and do more interesting things. I was going to have to make this bigger as well. There we go. This is about Nessie. Remember, I've been talking about big cats and stuff recently, big cat sightings in the UK. Well, this one is about Nessie. There we go. Cryptozoologists enlist drones to find the Loch Ness Monster. A massive hunt for the fabled creature is kicking off this weekend. So it could be over now. Probably because it's Sunday now, isn't it? This was from Friday. And there's the famous surgeon's photograph, which has been shown to be proved, admitted to be, a fake, a hoax. It was a dinosaur neck stuck onto a toy submarine, wasn't it, that floated out. You can tell it's small anyway, the size of the waves. I don't know how it lasted so long. But anyway, there are plenty of urban legends that live rent-free in our minds, but few as notorious as the Loch Ness Monster. This weekend, a group of cryptozoologists will be taken to the namesake body of water. The namesake body, called the Loch Ness Monster because it's from Loch Ness. to hunt for the mythological creature with a suite of technology in the biggest manhunt or monster hunt in over 5 decades. Probably talking about since they had like a radar or sonar sweep of the entire loch and didn't find anything. As Popular Science reports, the expedition is sponsored by Loch Ness Exploration, an independent research team obsessed with hunting the cryptid. The Loch Ness Centre, spelled the wrong way, it won't be spelled that over here, says that this is the biggest search for Nessie since 1972 and is featuring some technology that's apparently never been used in the hunt. Loch Ness Exploration, or LNE, will be deploying thermal drones to detect any heat signatures lurking underneath the surface of the loch and hydrophones to record subaquatic acoustics. Since starting LNE, it's always been our goal to record, study, and analyse all manner of natural behaviour and phenomena that may be more challenging to explain, Alan McKenna, a researcher with LNE, wrote in a Loch Ness Centre press release. It's our hope to inspire a new generation of Loch Ness enthusiasts, and by joining this large-scale surface watch, excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. You'll have a real opportunity to personally contribute towards this fascinating mystery that has captivated so many people from around the world. The myth of the Loch Ness Monster grew widespread attention after an infamous black and white photo referred to as the surgeon's photo taken in 1933. That photograph spurred years of stories, hoaxes, and plenty of debunking. Some of that debunking was conducted by a team of scientists who found, after analysing water samples from the loch, that Nessie could be a large eel. The hunt will be conducted, they've said eels and sturgeons and all sorts of stuff. The hunt will be conducted this weekend on August 26th and 27th. LNE was also previously seeking citizen scientists and amateur cryptozoologists to join the exhibition through an application process, but has now closed the process. That said, the curious around the world can watch the hunt take place on a series of different live streams on Visit Inverness, Loch Ness's official website. Oh, let's have a look then. Let's have a look. I'm going to have to get out of this and a full screen. Where are we? See what they've said. See what they've said. Is there any news? No, they're just webcams, them, aren't they? Yeah, they're just webcams that they're looking at. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you. Dear. This is the Visit Inverness, Loch Ness. Things to do, accommodation, where to eat, business. Find Nessie. Have you ever wanted to catch a glimpse of the Loch Ness Monster? They've got live streaming cameras, look, from the Clansman Hotel. So let's have a look. Oh, it's night time. Let's have a look then. There we go. Is that Nessie there? Could be. Wouldn't it be spooky if we saw something now? What's that? It must be a boat. I don't know. Something glowing on the water there, isn't there? Very interesting. So that's that one. From Everlock Bed and Breakfast. So there we go. Is that the same? Is that the same thing as that? Spooky. Oh no, different. Got cobwebs. You need to go over and give your webcam a brush. That's what you need to do. So that's that one. Let's check them all. Let's just check them all, shall we? Just for fun. Shoreland Lodges. So what we're seeing on here. There we go. Not a lot. Bugs. Lots of insects flying about. There we go. That's that one. And Drover's Lodge. Not available, that camera. That's a shame. And Pinewood Steading. And there we go. Is that the Northern Lights, or is it lights from Inverness or something? Probably. Very, very nice. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. And that's it. That's it for the webcams. We didn't see Nessie, did we? Unless we saw it on that first one. I just wondered if there are any news, about the search, but it doesn't say there, does it? Never mind. Let's do another. I'll do a search, shall I? I'll get rid of that. I'll do a. I'll see if I can find anything. For us. Loch Ness, and we'll see what's in the news. From 4 hours ago. Right, here we go. Right. Oh, it's in bloody. Oh, it's on the Telegraph where you got to pay. Let's try and find another one. My milkman saw her once. Loch Nessie's biggest monster hunt in 50 years. Hang on, I better put let's sort by date. There we go. Right. 45 minutes ago, Loch Ness Monster hunt resumes in Scotland as weather clears. All right, so they've been delayed by the weather, by the looks of it. But there were that one. Oh, there we go. Oh, it's a YouTube thing, but it's not a long one. So let's watch it. Sod it. Let's watch it. Loch Ness Monster hunters hear 4 distinctive noises during major search for Nessie. Right, you ready then? I'll mute my mic.
You do the wave again? Oh, the wave again. Nice. Faults as well. So we've got tectonic fault reports here, faults in the crust of the Earth. And it's the fault that became active about 380 million.
There we go. There we go. Anyway, so we'll leave it there. So that were the news. That were the news for this week, for Sunday. Right. So, do you believe in Loch Ness Monster? I don't disbelieve. I've nothing against the something weird being in there. So yeah, I've got a book about it, written by Nicholas Witchell, who is the BBC royal correspondent, obviously, and also a Nessie expert, which is a bit peculiar, isn't it? But yeah. So why not? There's also monsters said to be in Loch Morar. It's called Morag, and there's supposed to be one in Loch Lomond as well, isn't there? Lots of lakes have monsters. Oh, there's Adrian Shine. Oh, you can't see him. I'll put that on again. That's Adrian Shine there, who started out as a believer, but became a skeptic. He doesn't believe there's a monster in the lake. The Loch. Sorry, what's that there? We've got a new subscriber. Hello, Daniel Toozer. Welcome to my channel. And also Spork of Destruction and Daniel Newton. 2 Daniels. There we go. Right, so welcome to the channel, you chaps. Right, so we'll leave it there. So, interesting news stories. As I said, I'll be updating the description with timestamps any minute now. So, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, hang on, I'm not ready. Until next, where is it? There we go. Until next time, I'm so organised, aren't I? I'll say the.